Welcome to the Wing Life Podcast, where we talk about wing foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy this great sport. All right. Good morning, Ando. Thanks a lot for joining me today.
Hey, what's up, Luke? No, thank you for inviting me. That's awesome. I was talking like, yeah, me. Sounds good.
Hey,
Let's do it.
awesome. So I've heard a ton about La Ventana. I'm yet to go down there. But maybe for our guests at home and for our guests around the world, maybe let's give a bit of a highlight of La Ventana. Why is it such this ultimate spot for winging, kiting, windsurfing, all of it?
First of all, because it's Mexico, so there's always a fun factor in there implied. We have great tequila, great mezcal, and good vibes. Everybody's very chill, especially local people. It's super nice. But then, yeah, wind wise, it's a really great spot. I came from mainland Mexico, whatever we call mainland. But little tip, we as Mexicans we don't like it when they said that we came from mainland. But anyways, I had a bunch of options. I started kiting in Guadalajara, so I was going a lot to Bucerias and to the Mexican Caribbean, like Tulum, to say something that everybody will know. And then the first time that I came here, I thought I didn't like the desert thing. I'm always been very tropical, but first time I come here, the whole scenery just like impacted me. It was like, I don't know. You have like these huge mountains in the background, the island, the turquoise water, and then solid wind. Uh, so it was it was like mind blowing when the first time that I showed up on the beach, and I was like, wow, this place has magic on it. The scenery is just like beautiful. Uh, and then that was when I was kiting mostly. I started doing wake style. Then I changed to riding a surfboard, and then I started playing with a kite and a foil. That was around
Okay.
2019, I think, or 2000. No, I'm lying. That was when I was in San Francisco. I went to San Francisco for a little bit, and that's when I had my first
Oh,
kite
nice.
foiling experience. I didn't like it that much when I saw kite foiling for the first time. So it took me a little bit to get my head around, mostly because it was mostly kite racing, like kite foiling racing.
Oh yeah, those foils were
And
fast, eh?
I haven't never been into the, yeah, and I was more like coming from wake style, and actually I did wakeboard before. I was more into yeah, tricks, back rolls, front rolls, back to rolls. I don't know, handle passes. So kite foil racing didn't, well, it wasn't something that I was looking into it. Um, but yeah, that was, I kind of like go up very far away from the question about what's good about La Ventana.
Hey, that's okay, man. When did you, let's say, get introduced to water sports for the first time? And then how did they make you feel, if you can remember that far back?
Yeah, that was the very early stage of my life. My parents they have always loved camping at the beach, so they took me to the beach since I was a baby, basically. And even though it was just like during weekends or vacations, I remember that the best time it was always when I was at the beach. I just got so much freedom from it because also when you're on the city, your parents don't let you go out as much to run on the street because you know there's cars or God knows what can happen. And when we were on the beach, it was total freedom. Like we were just camping, and I remember that I had breakfast, and as soon as I had breakfast, they let me just run away and do whatever I wanted. So I was doing a lot of fishing and then swimming, and then I remember that for Christmas one day they gave me a boogie board, and that was it. That was kind of like my first glide over water, and yeah, that was mind blowing
Oh,
for me.
beautiful.
I spent the whole day on the water, and from there I was just kind of waiting during my youth years to become independent and being able to drive to just go to the beach, grab a surfboard, and learn to surf. So that's kind of how I started getting into water sports, just because I feel the cold from water. And then as soon as I was able to do it, that's the first thing I did. Go straight and learn surfing. And yeah, from there,
You went into straight into what? Sorry.
and into learn how to surf.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So you started with surfing. Oh, that's a nice background. And you got some pretty good waves around Mexico.
Yeah, yeah, the whole Pacific coast is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Although again, I was living in Guadalajara, which is like 3 hours away or 4 hours away to the closest point. But yeah, I was a weekend warrior. When as soon as I got wheels, I get a group of friends who were also trying to learn to surf, and we were just going to the beach. We were going to Michoacan. There's a really nice place called La Ticla, and La Ticla it's a guarantee for waves. There's always good waves, and it's a really beautiful place. And yeah, that's where I learned my ways to be close to the ocean. And since then, I haven't stopped. I try to have a regular life, on the city working. But I always feel frustrated, and I always feel like not motivated to pursue I don't know, like a regular job, or just to be tied to the city until I finally got the balls to stand up and say like, hey, this is I don't want this. I don't care if I live on a tent but it has to be on the beach. And that's actually how I
All
started here
right.
in La Ventana. I had a business failure in a restaurant in Guadalajara, so I was broke, and I came to La Ventana to kite, and I was camping. I was living on a tent, and somebody offered me a job as a chef for a kite camp. And yeah, I said yes. I had nothing to lose, and then I just realized
Yeah.
how happy I was, and I was living in a tent, and I was like, oh, this is probably, I hope that's true, as worse as it can get, and I'm so freaking happy.
Yes.
Like I don't have nothing. I have a tent. I have my kite, and I'm just happy.
Mm.
So that's when I kind of like started looking at thinking about like why don't you just move here? I have another friend, Ferruccio, who is a legend for me here. He did the same move here, and yeah, he was telling me like, yeah, don't worry, everything's fine. Like summertime, I have a spear gun and I go get fish, so I have always something to eat. If I don't have money, I fish more, and then I go to a restaurant and change it. I change fish for a burger if I get tired of fish or whatever. So I was
Oh yeah.
like,
Fair enough.
I don't know. Yeah, why not? Like, I shouldn't feel ashamed of not being successful in something that I wasn't happy about it anyway. So that's when I go full into living in La Ventana. Good
Oh
times.
yeah, man. That's the trap, isn't it? That's the trap. Do something that you don't want to do to chase success that may or may never come, rather than focusing on the ultimate life that you'd rather live. Hey, I want to congratulate you on that though, because not everybody has the courage to do that.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's lucky, and also, I don't know. Sometimes I think it took me too long to figure it out, but I don't know. Things come when it's the time, and you just gotta take the opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. So you moved down to La Ventana. How long were you there until you started to get into, I guess maybe into wing foiling, or when did you start your school?
Well, I started school around 2017 or 2018, and it was just because I was working with a guy from San Francisco. He was the one who offered me to become an IKO instructor. So I went to San Francisco with him to learn how to teach, which I think is one of the hardest place on earth to teach kiteboarding. So if you can teach there, you can teach
San
anywhere in the
Francisco?
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Bay Area, it's crazy. Um, so he got me into teaching, and yeah, the guy was just like a roller coaster. He was crazy, and he had a lot of good things. He had a lot of bad things. So I learned a lot from him. And then sadly, tragically, he got murdered. I mean, it's a crazy world.
Okay.
And he got murdered in San
Whoa.
Francisco. And then I helped his wife to keep going with the kite school. And then she decided to sell the school shortly after that. So that's when I thought, like, yeah, like maybe I have to step up and start my own school. So yeah, that's how I get into teaching and founding Saladita Kite School.
Okay. And now, whereabouts are you in La Ventana? Because I know there's a few kite schools there. So maybe for folks at home who aren't knowledgeable about the exact spots, could you explain maybe that?
Yeah, sure. There's tons of kite schools. There's gotta be like 30 now, I guess.
Oh,
Uh,
whoa.
yeah, during the season, there's like they pop up from anywhere.
Do they pop
Uh,
up everywhere? Okay.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, the bay is it's quite a decent size bay. The main location is La Ventana, which is south of the bay. It's kind of where the bay makes a curve. The wind is very nice here, and it's very safe because it comes from the wind from the north. So it doesn't matter where you ended up, you're always gonna get catch south on the beach, and it's all sandy over there, so it's always good. So we teach from always where we have side wind conditions. So from La Ventana, then you have El Sargento, which is it's a bit north from La Ventana. Everything is like on a walkable distance if you have the time to do it.
Yep.
So I teach a little bit more north from El Sargento, which is a decent distance from South Beach. It will be around, I guess, 8 kilometers on a straight line. Uh, so I don't know. I really like that location. It's originally was called Palapa Beach. Now there's a, 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 a restaurant there that has become very popular that is called La Tuna. So everybody calls La Tuna this beach now, and that's where we teach from. It's a wide sandy beach, which now become one of the most popular spots for kiting on the bay because it's white sand and it's very open. It's getting crowded a little bit,
Oh
but it's
yeah.
always nice anyway. And it's a good location to start a downwinder, for example. You just start there and then ended
Oh
up
yeah.
down here at Bajayos or Chilo Chill.
Oh yeah. No, that'd be pretty sensational. When did you start first seeing winging in La Ventana? Was it something that you thought would get as big as it is? Do you just think it was a phase? Well, what are your initial thoughts?
I thought it was ridiculous when I saw it for the first time. I thought it looked lame. I
Yeah.
was, but then I remember that was my exact same thought when I saw kiteboarding for the first time. I was a
Oh really?
wakeboarder and a
Yeah.
surfer, and then I looked at kiting, and I was that looks ridiculous. So lesson learned. I was like, you better start soon because it's only a matter. Of course, everything looks ridiculous when people is figuring out something or discovering something. Nobody knows what it's doing. Uh, the stamps they have look probably weird. Everything looks weird. So yeah, it doesn't look cool when something is starting. But just wait until somebody nail it and make it look good, and everybody's gonna try to do it. And that was the case with kiting and with foiling. Obviously, the first guys who were trying, and this is one of the most common things I hear from new kiters or yeah that speak about foiling is like, oh yeah, they look really weird. It's only old people, and they're just like like moving their shaking their arms, and yeah, because they're looking at
Oh
somebody
yeah.
that is learning. But I don't know, look at Kai Laney, for example, and you're gonna be wow, that that's freaking cool.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I started around when did I start winging? I think it was 2019. I remember I
All
had a
right.
Nash, and I get my hands into a Nash hand wing with lots of handles. That was the first thing I
Oh
noticed. Like,
yeah,
wow,
I
which
remember
handle should
those.
I grab?
No idea.
Uh, yeah, I have no idea, and I think it was a really bad design, multiple handles.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I had that setup and a big ride engine or slingshot foil that was huge and heavy, like really really heavy. And I got my hands on a Takuma board. Uh, it was like 100 and probably 120 liter. And it was
All
interesting
right.
because it was kind of like the design was like a really like displacement pool, like very deep B bottom pool,
Hmm.
which kind of remind me now of the downwind board that I'm seeing. It's also displacement pool 100%. But it was super hard to get balance because of the big displacement pool, the B shape. It was very side to side. It rolls very hard. So it took me. It was hard to learn. I remember it was funny. I was just miserable all day trying to get up, but it was fun. Once I had my first takeoff, it was amazing. I think that was the hardest part. Is just to take off because I didn't know how
Oh
to foil
yeah.
from kiting. I remember the first foil that I liked was a Liquid Force Impulse. That thing was super sweet. And then I started doing wake foiling behind, so I had a really good sense of balance on the foil even without wind, and that helps me a lot, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I started windsurf foiling at the start, and that helped set that foundation, and then went off to winging after. So your first flight winging, was it? How'd that make you feel? For me, it was insane how quiet it was, how peaceful it was, and then I could just travel and see the lake like a tourist. Like that. Those are the 3 points I think caught me the most.
Yeah, I mean the sensation of floating that you get from foiling is just unmatched. Yeah, I've done lots of board sports, and just that feeling of being like weightless and just glide and fly, especially once you got a bump and you're not even using the wing at all. For me, that's the most mind blowing moment. It's just like silence, like you said. Maybe you will hear the foil like almost like whistling or something, but yeah, the glide is just like you feel like a I don't know, pelican soaring on the near a wave, or like I look a lot of now I look a lot of all the fishes and the dolphins and whales and rays, like yeah, they're just foils, and they're just gliding, and that's exactly what we're trying to mimic with the foil. Um, yeah, I'm so hooked with foiling. I love that.
Oh, nice. So now you're seeing a lot of kids from Hood River, a lot of pros from everywhere come to La Ventana and train. Um, have you seen? Obviously, there's been an explosion of people winging there. We've talked about this before, but what's it like seeing 13-year-olds pulling backflips and 720s and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. I don't know, to see how fast they evolve and become the best riders in the world. And it's also hilarious a little bit because, yeah, I don't know, 10 years ago, when you look at the pro rider, it was always somebody in their, I don't know, 20s to 30s. And even if there was a competition, categories were like, yeah, the open was where all the old guys were. And then having a young guy, it will be kind of like, I don't know, not fair because he's not going to make it. And now it's kind of the other way around. Now the old guys,
Oh
we
yeah.
don't stand a chance against the young guns. It's crazy. I like particularly in Chris and Benji. And I
Mm,
remember,
yes.
I didn't see when Chris learned to wing foil, but I was watching Benji when he started from zero, and in a matter of 1 year, he was pro. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and especially because they're smaller kids too. Like they don't like you would associate windsurfers and kiter with muscular physique. They spend a lot of time in the gym. They're very well trained, and then you have this smaller kid who's I don't know 12, 13, pulling off stuff that were like how. But
Yeah,
I guess it's a sport that you don't need a lot of strength. It's mainly technical, and then obviously the lighter you are, the higher you can jump, more
yeah.
pop you can
I
get,
mean,
smaller gear you can use.
yeah. There's always some advantage of being lightweight. You can get out with any breeze because you have big wings. I don't know, like a 3 square meter wing for somebody that weighs 40 kilos. It's a big wing, and then you have a 4 liter board, which is considered like a really small board for a again for a 40 kilos kid is it has it has quite a lot of rotation. So that's opened them also the possibilities to practice when nobody can and uh, and to send it. Yeah, yeah,
Fair,
it's great.
yeah, that's pretty cool. So for those at home, what's your favorite setup, and why do you like riding it?
Yeah, my favorite setup it's been a 4 liter board. I am riding a KT Drifter S
Oh,
for the
very
last
nice.
I think 2 seasons now. And I one of the things that I love is that the board is made to last. Uh, I I I I'm still a surf shaper. Uh, don't practice that anymore. I just make a few boards for friends or for me. Usually, I made them for me, and then my friends took it from me. Uh, so I know a little bit
Oh
about
wow.
construction, and the construction from the KT board for me it's outstanding. Um, I have had Amazon boards, which are also that was also one of my favorites. And then from there, yeah, I have owned some slingshots, some Takuma, but yeah, my favorite has been the Amazon and the KT, which is what I'm riding now, and the thing is boom proof. Uh, I funny like I'm a surf shaper and I hate doing repairs, and I treat my equipment. I don't treat it really well. I treat better the equipment from the school, but what's my personal equipment, I'm a little bit rough. And the thing is
Okay.
solid, yeah. And for
Oh,
foils,
nice.
I have used right engine. I have used a lift and sling. No, what I say, liquid force at the beginning, and then I Axis caught my attention once because one friend of mine had one, and I really liked the modular system and how you could swap just your front wing, your back wing, which at the beginning there was not much options. I mean, nowadays it's standard, I guess. But I really like their system and how solid it looks compared to what I was riding before. And then I got the chance to meet Evan, and he helped me to get a setup. And since then, I've been riding Axis, and I'm loving it. My favorite setup was the HPS 880 until recently. Well, I think it's safe to say that I still love that foil. It's been for me like the if I can only have ride one foil only, that will be the one that I will ride. It's for me it was I can pump the foil like for very long without wind or anything, and then I can surf it. I can wing it. It's super fast. It turns really good. But nowadays they have the Spitfire, so now that's what I've been riding. So I just got it. It's just been released. I just got it here in summer, which is not their best season. So I just had a chance to ride a couple of times, but I like it so far. It's the one that I have right here behind, and yeah, it's really good. It turns really good. There's still some things that I miss from the HPS that I really like, but there's always some transition when you switch your foil. You have to adapt and how it turns. And it's one of the things that I like about foiling. It can be very geeky because there's
Oh yeah.
so many variables that will affect how you ride. So you really have to get your head around every little detail, like the the front wing, the rear wing, the fuselage length, where the mast sits on the fuselage, and where the mast sits on your board, and conditions. I mean, there's so many freaking variables that it takes a long time and to kind of like know what you want and what you like, and also know when one thing is better for conditions to other conditions. But at the same time, it's great that you can find a setup that will work for everything, uh, with always some sacrifices, but you can dial in what you want and what you like. And there's so many brands, so many good brands, so much offer that it's crazy.
Oh yeah, there's so many brands, so many different kinds of foils, from high to low to medium aspect stuff. Let's break it down a little bit though. For mass length, what are you using, and what do you think is best for beginners?
So I'm using an 82 centimeter mast, and for me that works great because I like all disciplines of kite foiling mainly, not kite foiling,
Okay.
foiling, kite foil,
All right.
wing foil, surf foil, or prone foil, and downwinding, which is the one that I practice the least, but we will change that.
All right. Let's talk
So
about
that
that after.
that mass length for me sits right in the middle, and I'm very comfortable with it. I'm not a big fan of the super long mass, like I don't know, like beyond a
On
hundred
2130.
centimeters, or yeah, or like not even the 90s. The ones that are 90, I like them for kiting only. But from there, lower, like 82, you feel very connected to the turn, and you feel more the foil. So for me, that's the key. And for beginners, I really like the 75 range. I even though have like I think it's a 40 baby mast length that I bought for
Little
teaching,
one.
and then from there I have a 60 centimeter and a 68 centimeter. And I found that the best one is the 75, because with the little ones, the problem is that as soon as they engage the foil, they're gonna breach very easily, and they're gonna fall. So, and with the really long ones like the 90s or beyond, or the 80 even, yeah, it's harder to control the foil. So I found that the 70 range, it's perfect for beginners because they have some margin before they breach, and they have a lot of control and stability on the foil. And I feel also that it's a bit safer because you can jump away from the foil faster when you fall. So that's kind of
Mm.
what
Hmm.
I believe for what we do here is best.
Okay. Now, what about let's jump to fuselage.
Fuselage. I'm riding with Axis what they call the crazy short. Let me grab it here. Yeah, this is a crazy short fuselage, which is 600 millimeters or 60 centimeters.
Okay.
Which is
So it's a
it's
60.
quite short. Uh-huh. It's quite short. They have a shorter one now, and they call this one the advanced because they move the attachment point where the mat sits 4 centimeters forward to be closer to the front wing. Before this, they have it like a really bit more on the back. So that changed a lot how you pump and the angle of attack a little bit, because the more if you have more pressure on the front, you tend to put the foot a little bit more down. So you kind of have to readjust a little bit your stance on the board. But uh, I found this to be like a really good change for the foils, particularly for winging, downwinding, and surfing. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And what about your rear tail there?
I'm using a 350 progression,
All
uh,
right.
but I actually like one a little bit smaller, the 325, because it makes the whole setup very loose to ride, and still I get enough stability, uh, and it makes it go faster too. There's a little bit less drag, less wing, less drag.
Oh, and how much do you weigh, just for people at home?
I'm like 77 kilos, I think.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm 70, so I'm riding a 70 liter just because water's cold here sometimes, and it's nice to
Yeah,
float. But
yeah.
yeah,
Actually, it's right now, for example, that we have summer and we have very light winds. I've been trying to go out on my 40 liter, and yeah, I had to swim back a couple of times, and I'm getting tired of that. So I was thinking, I have an old, well, it's not old. It's, you know, things get older these days very fast. It's to a 1 year old board, which is 90 liters. It's a slingshot. It's a slingshot. I don't remember the name of the board. Robbie, I don't know if you know Robbie. He writes for Slingshot, and he's a very loved community member here in La Ventana. He's mental with photo skills, and he had
oh,
a
nice.
board from Wyatt that it was a prototype for Slingshot, and he was writing it, and he broke it, of course, because he does rad stuff. So I'm fixing it because it's 90 liters and it's super short. I think it's like 14 or something like that. So I
Oh,
think I
wow.
can use
Okay.
that and get up on lighter winds and keep enjoying because we have wind year round. You just gotta have the right equipment for it and go for it. Like I could kite foil every day here, but these days all I think is wing foiling.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was that transition from kite foiling to wing foiling? Why are you maybe thinking more wing foiling now?
That happened very quick. Because I started kite foiling, like liking it and enjoying it around 2019, and that's the same year that I started wing foiling. Uh, and it just happened that quick because as soon as I get up on the wing foil, the feeling was unmatched. So that's when I just reset my brain and kind of like ditch everything that I was doing before, and not because I thought it's better, just because I just get so addicted to that feeling that kiting wasn't given anymore to me. Um, it's I mean the addiction, the problem is real. This thing is if it's yeah it's an addiction,
It's a
but
good
it's the
problem to
best
have, I
addiction
think.
somebody can
Yeah.
have. Yeah, exactly. It's the best addiction somebody can have. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind if I had kids and my kids got addicted to foiling or surfing or anything. It's that's great. Go for it.
Oh yeah, it keeps you in shape, keeps you out of trouble. It keeps your body clean because you got to have food choice. Well, for the most part, like if you're wanting to compete and do fairly well, and just have a great day the next day, obviously your food choices and your choices of liquids are going to change. All that stuff kind of dictates when you want to have a great day on the water the next day.
Yeah,
It
so
can, doesn't have
I
to.
think that I think that's a very important point. Uh, and at the end, it will drag you to a healthier life. Uh, not immediately because I had been partying or I had been like especially after winging and everything. I was so hungry that I don't know. You go will and go eat I don't know like wings or a huge burger. Not that it's necessarily bad food, but it's not the healthiest
Yeah.
option. Uh, but then when you hit 40, hit you in the face, and then you realize that if you want to keep doing this, you gotta focus on your on what you're eating, and also on getting another exercise routine. Um, I don't know if it's because I just hit 40 or because I start winging. Winging is more demanding physically than kiting. At least, yeah, you can get kiting on a very high level, and then it will be very physically demanding. But
Mm-hmm.
winging, even if you're not pushing it hard and doing the most radical things, you will still get workout because I mean you're holding the wing with your arms, you're working your whole core for balance, and then your legs you're pumping. and carving. It's I don't know. It's a really good workout. And immediately I start having troubles on my neck or my shoulder because either I had a bad position when I was winging, so I had to kind of like adjust my I don't know, my shoulders. Usually they have been pushed forward, and I didn't realize when I was doing it until I was in pain, and then I realized, okay, I have to bring my shoulders back to keep a position that in my body feels more natural. And even
Oh yeah,
though
that makes sense.
yeah, now I have to start getting in shape, and luckily I have good friends here. Like Kate is one of them who's been dragging me to the gym, and yeah, and then that overall it's where I want to go, and because I want to do this, I don't know, until I'm way older. That's one of the things that caught my attention the first time that I got to La Ventana. It was very unpopular back then. Uh, there were only people with white hair. Like beyond 60, 70 years old. And when I look at them, I was like, damn, these guys are ripped.
How?
Because I mean,
Yeah.
I look at the body; they were super strong, and all windsurfers. And that was one of the things that I also thought about myself. Like when I'm 70, I want to look like them. I want to be out there winging. I mean, whatever water sport is we're doing at that time when that happened. But I want to be active. I don't want to be sitting on my couch watching football or whatever. I want to be out, exploring, and don't, I don't know, like there's no reason to become, to lose the child that we all have, and just go explore and play, have fun. That's the most healthier thing we can do, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There's a bunch of people that go to NitNat, and some of them are 65, 70. My one buddy David that works with Marie at Elevation, I think he's 74 now. And great shape, loves to get out on the water, and it gives, I guess, all of us people who are, I know I just turned 40 this year, gives us hope. But then you're also like, there's one guy walking around, he must be 60, completely shredded. And I'm like, how? I walked up to him, I'm like, how? And
Yeah.
he's like, kid, just eat good food, stay off of all this other stuff, and then exercise like what we're doing, and then you'll get there. And then he said once he figured out what worked for his body, he just maintained that, and then it just amplified over the years. But it is really awesome to see everybody in their 60s, 70s, and even sometimes in their 80s enjoy foiling. And this is a sport we'll be able to do until, if we can walk, we can foil. So I was
Yes.
so happy to be able to find this, because I was looking for something, obviously, up until just the love of wind has been absolutely phenomenal in my life. And I know when you get hooked on wind and how it makes you feel, you just want to find all these different ways to enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. There's so many benefits about these water sports. Another thing that we haven't talked about is, yeah, to reconnect with nature, which is one of the things that you ended up
Good
losing
point.
from living on the city. You're so disconnected from nature because you're walking on concrete. If you're walking, because mainly you're on a car or any other transport, and you don't look at the sky that much because you have all the huge buildings, all the lights. So, and we spend most of our time on our phone. I mean, that's not only on the cities, even on the beach. It's hard. It's very addictive. But
It is,
once
yeah.
you're out and you're riding, you completely disconnect from the fake that we have created in the world and connect with the wind, the water, the temperature. You become aware of your world. If you're lucky, you're gonna see, I don't know, fish or whales or other stuff, and you're gonna live again, how we are supposed to live in nature. So that's, I don't know, like kind of like a big part of outdoor sports in general that we have to nourish and and take as a, I don't know, like a medicine these days, because otherwise We're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons Tom and we started the podcast was to help people connect with water sports who had never been there. And in post pandemic, I found the world was going in a direction where it was just spiraling more and more and more onto phones, onto devices, isolation. And then I just want to share how water sports and how wind had made me feel and how they had saved my life and how they had given me so much purpose and joy and passion. So that's why we're doing this, just to help some people who may have thought that, hey, it might be too hard, or no, I can't do this, or hey, my schedule is too hectic. But the more and more people we meet, like yourself, that are like, hey, like I live that. I choose to live this way now, and this is how much happier it makes me feel. They're nice stories to hear for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Also, you realize that the more people you teach, uh, I mean, it's easy for them also to become addicted to this, uh,
Oh
and
yeah.
they also start changing their lifestyle. And because when you find something that you like, you tend to look time to do it. So these people who were like really busy, they're trying to find time on their schedule to come and practice, and then they ended up like changing the whole life too. I remember one of my first customers that I had during a kite camp. I remember him. He was he was very hard. He was very harsh on me, on everything. And I remember one day when he exploded because we got skunked for a couple of days, and the, everybody wants to get the max out of if they're on a kite camp, they want to get the most out of the camp, right, and learn the most. Because he told me like
Oh, absolutely.
he was telling me one day like very like anxiously and kind of like mad a little bit like like I don't have any vacation and I only have this amount of time on the year to get out and try this. And now I'm getting skunked and I don't have wind and I'm very frustrated and I get it. I get that frustration and where he's coming from. But that's one of the things that nature teach you is that you cannot force things no matter how much you pay. I mean, nobody controls the wind, right? But he started changing his
Nope.
because he got hooked anyways. Even though he got skunked a couple of days, he got a taste of what it is, and then he kept doing it. He enrolled after this camp to in another one and in another one, and now he's somebody that I see every year here in La Ventana. And now that I speak with him, he seems like so relaxed and you notice the change on his vibe, how now he's like cured from that rhythm that was kind of like consuming him from the inside, and now he's enjoys life. He quit his old job and now he's doing his own thing, so he has the time that he wants, and he's becoming a really good kiter now I think if I grab a kite he's gonna kick my ass for sure. And left that just give me like some I feel very good about it, like I just contribute with a little bit because obviously he didn't have a great week when he was with us because the wind was not that great, but still there was enough to contribute and keep him going until he find his own path and he makes this his passion. And now he's like I don't know, he's an awesome person and he's so happy and I feel a little bit happy about that, no, like rewarding, like um I don't know. Some people say about an instructor, like, he's only an instructor, he's a bum. But I feel great. Like, yeah, I
Mm.
might be only an instructor, and I live on the beach like a bump if you want. Uh, but I help, I don't know, to make people happy a little bit. It's not, of course, uh, I'm not the one who changed his life, but I contribute to it. So that's very rewarding and that's very noble, and that keeps me happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a point in. I think that's it is a very noble thing to do, and it's a humble thing to do sometimes. But because I'm an instructor here as well, and but you never know where these sports are going to take people, and just introducing something new to somebody, you just never know. So it's beautiful to be able to do that. And then circling back to your cool school there, what kind of gear do you use for your school, and why did you choose that gear?
Well, I like to try everything, and I guess that I get that from shaping. Every time I have something in my hand, I want to try it and I want to see how it feels and I want to know why it works. So, and I do believe that all the gear out there, it's pretty amazing. Everybody is doing an amazing job. Uh, I don't believe like, oh, this brand is the top, and if you're not riding this brand, you're not gonna be good enough, or whatever. That being said, I've been riding with different brands. I started the school with Liquid Force, which a lot of people used to trash, and I like it. That was what I was riding personally before the kite school, and that's why I decided to use it for the kite school. Plus, I like the background of the brand, so where to know where they're coming from. Uh, and in the case of Liquid Force, as I was a wakeboarder before, I knew about Liquid Force because they started the company with wakeboarding. Jimmy Redmond is one of the guys who owned the company, and he was a shaper. An inventor of a sport. He invented the board that we know as a twin tip. Wakeboarding before it was a scurfer, and it was a directional board. And then Jimmy Redmond came with the first bidirectional board design, which is kind of like every kiteboarder rides these days. So to me, that's huge, and it has had a huge impact also on a sport that haven't even exists at the moment, kiting. So that's where I pay tribute to the guys who brought us here and his company. I think it was a great company. Um, and then I don't know why they broke or closed out the kiteboarding division. So then I was contacted by a great person in Hood River, Elliot. Elliot was become the reading kites distributor in America at that
Okay.
time,
Yeah.
and he contacted me and he offered me the brand. And coming from Liquid Force, which was a brand that wasn't very well, or people didn't like it that much, it wasn't very popular. I don't know. I was like, okay, now we're gonna go and I'm gonna go for a I don't know a more popular brand. And then Elliot came and offered me reading kites, which was like super new, like completely new. And I didn't even like the colors of the brand, which I mean it's not important, but when you write something, you want to write something that you
It's
like.
important.
Yeah. So I was like,
100%.
fuck, like I don't like that, and I didn't even met Elliot, but I like his approach, his vibe, his support, and I ended up going with him and reading, and is so far one of the best reps that I have met. I mean, the best rep I have met for sure, and he was giving me such a good service that was unbeatable. The kites were really good too. They had some defects. I don't know if it's normal or not, but I've seen a lot of kites exploding from different brands. So I guess at the end they all have to deal with some issues. The kites came from the same fabrics, so I don't know. But he has the best
Okay.
service
And they got
ever.
wings
I
too,
had.
right?
They got wings too. So I started riding with them,
Yeah. Okay.
uh, and then I switched to a rush. Elliot left reading kites. Now he's slingshot and ride engine guy. And then I start riding
Oh, okay.
Kitewise Arush for the school, which is a product that
All right.
I always liked. They find great. They have great quality. So then wing wise, I had a mix from I start with reading wings, and then Arush, and now I'm writing KT wings too. Uh, like I say, I
Oh,
like to
beautiful.
test everything, and which gives you a better perspective of what you like. If you just brand with marry with one brand, then you're missing out a lot of things. And what works for me might not work for you, and same as for my students. So I do like them. I do like to have a few options and see what they like. And also because it's such a new sport that everything is changing so fast that it's important to try different things and see what's better for what. Uh, so yeah, that's regarding kites and wings. For foils,
All right.
uh,
Oh yeah.
I do really like Axis. Uh, I'm sure that there's other brands that are also great. I just have a really good customer service with Axis. I think they're top notch, and you and the owners are very approachable, and that's something that I haven't experienced with any other brand. But with them, like I can text Evan and he will reply me. Sometimes I'm ashamed, like, hey Evan, so what's the scoop on this new wing? What do you think? How it will compare to this? And even though he might be like super busy with other important things, he takes the time to text me back and send me a voice note and tell me what with what. So I really appreciate that from Evan, and that's what I like about Axis. Some people don't like this about Axis. They have probably the biggest variety in wing foils, which make it a little bit
Hmm.
a nightmare to get into it because you don't know what to choose. Uh,
Mm. Good
but
point. I've heard that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's complicated, and I think that's something so complicated in wing foiling. Uh, it's very important to have the right gear to learn, and that's something that it took me a little bit to dial in when I was learning. If you're on the wrong equipment, it's gonna take you longer to learn, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I will also recommend to have lessons first, because the learning gear for it's very specific. It might not be the gear that you want to buy and have, because you're gonna grow from that very quickly. So unless you're planning to donate it to your son or your cousin or something, yeah, then buy it. But otherwise, there's no point of spending, I don't know, $3,000 in gear that you're only gonna use to learn for 6 months, and then you're gonna try to get at something new. So that's one of the advantages of having lessons. You're gonna get all the beginner gear available, and then once you know what you're doing, you can buy some intermediate gear that's gonna last you for a year more at least.
Oh yeah, I like that approach because at the start you have no idea what's going on. So and especially beginner boards, everything adds up quite a bit. So it is a great concept to do it that way. Now, at your school, how do you teach? Do you start on land? Do you do land basics? You do water? Can you walk a potential new student through that process with your school?
Yeah, first lesson is on land, and we just break some theory, how to fly the wing, how to flip the wing on the water, and just how to get up on the board. We have a board without a pole, and how to we try to simulate what you're gonna do on the water. Um, so that usually is 1 hour or two, depending on the person. But for the most part, it's just 1 hour. Sometimes it's even faster. Some people is so natural that I don't know, that makes me feel bad when I
It's very true.
to remember when I learned and I spent so much time learning. And some people is just like just, they just know somehow. So we try to accommodate the lesson to the ability of the person. But for the most part, it's 1 hour on land, and then we do a tandem. little downwinder on the beach. So we drive up north. The student goes on the water with his instructor holding the board and just dragging behind him and helping him with
Oh, okay.
yeah, how to get on the knees on the board, how to flip the wing, so he can be like right next to him to explain him how to make things better and point the mistakes that are happening, so he can be aware of where he needs to improve. So from there, depending on how that goes, the next lesson will be the instructor goes on another little downwind with the client or with the student, either on a SUP following him or on a wing foil equipment behind him and riding next to him. Uh, After that, they usually have the opportunity to rent gear and do a downwind by themselves, depending on what the instructor assess. But I have clients that unbelievably ride on the first lesson. That's something that I don't know. I asked the guy if he had ride before, and he said no, but he could be lying. I don't know. That I was like,
Yeah.
I was mind blown. Like, or the guy is, I don't know how it's the lost son of Kylan, and he can do everything just because he has it on his age.
Maybe.
And then, yeah, I don't know. But for the most part, we do like 4 hours, 6 hours of lesson, and then after that they can rent gear and try to do the downwinders run
All right.
themselves. We offer them we have a beach boy who will drive the car and make drop off and pick them up. So there's that service here on La Ventana by another friend. He's doing the same service just for everybody, kiters, wingers, or whoever who wants to go downwinder. And
Oh,
after that,
cool.
they can
How
come
much does
back
that
to the
cost?
school. The downwinder service, I have no clue right now. With the school, it's
Okay.
included with the rental of the gear. But my friend who's doing it by
Okay.
himself, I don't know what are their quotes right now, and I'm sure they're gonna go up probably this next season. Everything's going up, so you have to
Hmm.
catch up.
Everything.
But there's lots of options. Hitchhiking. Uh, there's one guy here that is very admirable, Charles. He's my neighbor. He's like 60 year old or 50 something, I think, and he's the most determined person I've seen in my life. He wants to do downwind foiling. That's his goal, and he has no car,
Yeah, let's talk about this.
and he lives south. He's my neighbor. I live south here in La Ventana. So he gets up and takes his bike. He has a little car on his bike for his foiling gear. So he drives up north to where we teach, to La Tuna, leave his foil equipment over there, and then he rides his bicycle back down here to the south, and then he leaves his bike here on South Beach, and then he walks his way up back to La Tuna to get on his gear to try to go downwinder. He's using the foil drive assist to to propel himself again on foil
All right.
and start downwinding. And then he makes his downwind. Then he where his bike is, and then he brings everything back home. But the ride up on his bicycle with the gear probably takes him like 45 minutes to get up there, and then walking back probably it's an
Okay.
hour 20, and then he has
Okay.
to yeah, to go up again, and he just keep walking all day, and then he refused to get help. Like I offer him ride because he's my neighbor. I can give him. I go there every day, and he always says no. And then I offer him to storage his gear at my trailer on the school, and he thought about it for a second, and then he said no. And when I asked him like, dude, why you just don't take the ride or the help? Like, it's no problem. And he was like, because then I'm gonna become lazy and dependent. And I was
Mm.
like, I like the mentality of this guy. He just goes for it no matter what. And I'm used to so much commodities, like my car, for example, that some days if I don't have my car and nobody can give me a ride, I wouldn't do it. And this guy, he doesn't stop with these little things. He just goes for it, and I found that super admirable. This guy is a machine, and he's way older than me, and he goes for it. He goes for it, no matter what, no excuses. So that's very admirable.
Yeah, it's that's something for us to aim for, and I love having those examples um, to follow because they're getting harder and harder to find now.
Yeah,
But let's say there's somebody brand new into winging, they want to come down to La Ventana. Um, Finding a place to stay, do you find that relatively easy? Does the school, what kind of accommodations are around there? And is there anything that the school can help do to connect somebody with a place to stay?
yeah, definitely. We have a partnership with a couple of places. Actually, one of those is where we do
Okay.
kite camps and wind foiling camps, and he has a kind of like a boutique hotel kind of style. It's a beautiful house, and the host is terrific. He's a very interesting person and character here, and yeah, his
Oh, that's cool.
accommodation is top notch. He has 4 rooms in this house, very modern house. And then he also has 4 glampings, which I think the glampings are called sheep pods, which are kind of like this kind of like space material thing that is very I don't know how to say that. It keeps it cool and hot during the change of weather. And they
Oh,
are
okay.
equipped with a
Nice.
real bed and all the commodities. So it's a really cool spot. If you follow, if anybody follows me on Instagram, which is at saladita.kite.school, they can figure out more about the camps and the accommodation. And we offer not only the camps, but also to all my customers, I offer them his accommodation, and they get a little discount from if they stay on his place for uh, as, as accommodation. They will get a 10% discount on the school on lessons or gear rentals. And then there's another spot called Casa Palmar, which is another great spot that's a little bit more up north. And this is gonna be a brand new spot for this season, which is super close to the
All right.
beach. Both places are walking distance to the beach. One is just like a little more private and more calm area, and the other one is like the closer you are to the beach, there's more noise because there's more people and there's more traffic. But both are like brand new buildings and very with great hosts and very comfortable and options to stay. Plus, there's lots of Airbnbs in La Ventana, hotels and hostels. So there's an option for everybody. There's camping. So yeah,
And good food.
yeah, food is amazing. Um, there's good tacos. There's good burgers,
Oh yeah.
pizza, Italian places, more international sport bars with wings and all I don't know fries and everything. Great margaritas. There's great party scene if you like that. Or there's a lot of also like healthier lifestyle options. There's lots of yoga studios, acupuncture. I don't know. The community is great. There's lots of talented people in La Ventana, either instructors. I will say that all kite schools or wing schools here have excellent instructors. It's a great place to learn. It's very safe. although it's not the easiest, which makes you a better rider at the end. Sometimes we have people who come from a place where they have shallow water, uh, like mellow wind, and it's super easy, and they kind of like learn there, and they once they come to the ocean, they forget everything. So I would say that it's very important to come to a place where you have deep water, uh, because it feels more challenging, but at the same time, La Ventana is super safe. We haven't heard from anybody getting a strong accident here. The basic accident happen in any sport. Like you can pop up a shoulder or I don't know, twist your ankle or whatever. But there's no any major things happening on the sport here in this way because it's super safe. Um, we have some months where it's warm and some months that gets colder for like a 4.3 millimeter wetsuit, mainly because of the wind chill. Not so much because it's cold, but the wind chill gets that's what gets you. Especially that's on the peak months. That's when it gets cold that you need a wetsuit. But also the shoulder months of the season for me, those are the best because we just ride on a board short, and that will be October, November, and a little bit of December, and then the end of the season, which will be May or April, and also it's less crowded. So depending on what you like, what you want to achieve, or your how much available time you have, you can pick one of those months from October to April, and you can have a great time here. Uh, but yeah, if you want the wind as a guarantee, I will come mid December to end of February. That's when we have wind almost all day. But those are the coldest months and the most busy months. If you have a more flexible schedule and you're also open to do more of what the La Ventana has to offer, which is besides wind, we have great mountain bike trails. We have great experience on the ocean. Like there's lots of they call it safaris because they took you out on a boat and then you will see uh, I don't know, sperm whales, orcas, mobulas, dolphins. I mean, nature around here is great. So there's more things beyond wind. Uh, so I would advise,
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
will be in general to anybody who wants to learn wind sports. Uh, I know that when we set our mind on something, that's what we want. And I had the same mentality when I started. And then I had to learn through getting skunked with the wind. Like you cannot control everything, and that's a big learning thing from our sport. Is to enjoy everything around kiting, which is connect with nature, whatever it has to give you. So if you come here and you don't have wind, don't worry. There's a lot of things to do, and just enjoy it. For example, also another one thing that we do is foiling behind a jet ski, which is that will get you on track for your later goal of wing foiling way faster. It's a really cool thing to do. And also for a lot of people that is already winging and they haven't learned to pump with the foil properly without using the wing, having some time on the jet ski will teach you how to pump perfectly.
Oh yeah, I've it definitely makes a pretty big difference to learn there. And obviously, you're looking for flatter water and less wind. So you're right. There's different times for different activities. But all
Yeah.
that sounds pretty awesome. That gives our folks at home a lot of information about La Ventana. Accommodations are easy, lessons are straightforward and easy. You can go from camping to luxury based on that. You got good gear at your school. So you're looking at what range of board sizes do you have for people? So let's say if I'm riding regularly, can I come down and rent, let's say, a 60 or a 50 or a 40 or liter off
Yeah,
you?
we have everything ranging from 50 liters all the way to 145 liters board. And wings we have from 3.5 all the way to 6.
5 to 6. Okay. And now you're
And then
yeah.
yeah, and then foils we will have a wide range of axis foils. Mostly for the school, I have the broad spectrum carb, which are really easy to ride and very forgiving kites. Foils. Uh, on the range of 2,000 square centimeters to 1,500. But we will have a lot of demos from the high-end gear from Axis, Spitfires, ARTs, which are the higher aspect foils that have been super good. And yeah, it will be a good place to come and try gear to figure out what you want and what you like and what feels good for you. And also, if you don't want to travel with all your equipment, which is can be a problem, just come down here and rent gear from us and go ride.
Oh, cool. Hey, what do you think about the new 2023 hard handle KT wings? I just started riding a 3 meter pretty much exclusively. And I love that little thing. I can get going in probably 17, 18 knots on it. And I find the pumping to get me going, it I feel like the pumping is more similar to what some of the pros were doing before with baggier wings. They were just their skills were better. But this wing is just helping me accelerate, get up and going. And then once you're riding with a 3 meter, oh, you don't really want to ride with anything else.
Yeah, I agree. See, riding with small wings is so nice. It's a smaller wing, so it's effortlessly to turn and to flip and to pass it behind your head so easy. And especially the one with the hard handles, the connection to the wing was very solid. So it's very efficient. There's no energy loss when you're pumping. The ones with handles, the wing tend to flex a little bit more, and there's some lost energy that dissipates there. And when with the hard handle, every pump you feel the power delivery more direct, so it can be way more efficient. Although there's pros and cons, I believe. I do like the KTs that have the long handles, the ability to really move my hands all the way back or all the way forward. Uh, but overall, I think I like more the hard hand. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the KTs, which were last year's 2022s, where you had those long handles, I found it was a little bit easier on the hands, a little bit easier on the wrists and joints. And for learning, I think it taught you I think you have to learn a little bit slightly better wing skills when you're riding with one of those because you can't manipulate that handle as much. So what you end up doing is you end up learning, okay, so if I move my hand forward, move my hand backwards, what's this angle on the horizontal? So what's going to happen? How do I generate power a little bit differently? So I still love the soft handles. Now for people who are looking to get a little bit more, I find explosion or a little bit more power, or maybe make it feel more like windsurfing, then the hard handles are sweet. But I think learning on soft handles, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they're pretty comfortable for the hands,
yeah.
definitely.
See, totally. And see, they become like you say. Once you have the ability to move where it goes, it teaches you a lot. So that can be helpful. Otherwise, I think also like having just two options and with the hard handles and not being able to move it that much, that's also great because they will grab it from where they need to at the end of the day. So, but I think
Yeah.
there's always something to learn from different gear. And yeah, at one point, having riding different gear, it's gonna make you a better rider because you have more knowledge. And at the end of the day, also, you're the one. We have a saying in Spanish which says, uh, no es el indio, no es la flecha, es el indio, which means when you have I don't know, like an Apache from the tribes where they were shooting with an arrow and a bow. that it was not the
Mm.
bow and the arrow who were the skillful ones. Was the guy who was shooting. So I believe that 100%. You can make anything work, but of course we wanna have good gear, and the KT wings are amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then their new downwinder board series apparently are pretty crazy
Oh
as
my
well. And,
god,
and the
yeah.
whole let's talk a little
That
downwinding because my buddy last year we were at a lake on the island last year and he cracks out this long board and he said, "Kid," he said, "this is going to be coming soon." And hey, sure enough, here they are. So have you said you had just started downwinding and you want to do a little bit more of it?
yeah. Actually, when I start wing foiling, my goal was always like downwinding. I follow these guys. I don't know if you know Foil Wizard from Hawaii on Instagram, or Kai, or Kane the Wild, or James Casey. These
Mm-hmm.
guys are the guys that I look up when I was looking at foiling, and when I was like, "Whoa, this looks insane! I want to do that." And they were doing front foiling and downwinding. So they had a wave to chip in, and then get on foil, and then get away and start doing the downwinder. But here in La Ventana, we don't have waves, or at least that often. So we cannot find a wave to chip in on a small board and then get on foil and get out. So that's when I saw the Barracuda boards first, and now the KT downwind boards, and that's like, oh, that's perfect for La Ventana because we have the conditions, we just don't have a wave. So, and those boards allows you to get on foil with a paddle board, or with a or prone to. I've seen guys using hand paddles and then just getting the speed and get up and foil. So it's very exciting. I think foiling in general it's so multidisciplinary that the possibilities are just so many. But yeah, downwinding is something that's what I when I thought about winging is the perfect training wheels for downwinding. Uh, because
Oh
you can
yeah.
use the wing to get up, and then just put the wing down and just glide. And if you fall, you can grab the wing again
Oh
and get
yeah.
up and do it again without having to swim miles from shore. Uh, so yeah, that's
Yep.
also what I think wing is. Wing The wing becomes a tool for foiling, such as the board and the paddle, or I don't know, or the foil drive. The foil drive is a great tool
Mm-hmm.
for getting into foiling. I think the foil drive is going to grow really. It's going to become very popular because it closed the gap from e-foiling to other types of foiling. So I don't know. It's everything exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see where it progresses and continues to accelerate at this kind of rapid pace in the years to come. And I'm just hopeful that it brings more people into the sport and that they get to enjoy that reconnection with nature, which we talked about, and then help them get a little bit back into doing something with their bodies and just kind of enjoying that movement that all of these sports offer. I think that's what's so special about this one is that it's in nature. You're harnessing the power of that. You have to pay attention to so many things when you're out there, from changing conditions to whether or not you're riding a front. So then obviously the wind's going to go up or down, or regardless if you're riding thermals, there's always something to learn, which I think is a really fun aspect of these sports. So, but
Yeah.
hey, Endo, thanks. I want to say thanks a lot for taking the time to talk with me today. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, which is amazing. If people are looking to get in touch with you at your school, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
No, thank you for inviting me. It's been awesome. I'm always happy to meet other people that talk for wing sports or water sports. So thank you for that. It's been awesome. And
Absolutely.
yeah, the best way to contact me could be Instagram at saladita.kite.school. And you will find my information there, like the phone number of the kite school, I like messaging more than email, but all of the options are good. Our website is www dot saladitalaventana.com. And yeah, I'm happy. Just write me and I will hit you up with information on what you need, and we will send you something that you like.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, well, hey, Ando, thanks a lot. And thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right. Thank you so much.